Hello and welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection Game Day. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always, my co-host, Tate Mathews. We're going to do a rundown of the WCS Sports Conference of what has been going on here, and it's been a busy 2 weeks, Tate. We've got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to start on the wrestling front. The TWSAA State Championship had just finished up, and WCS did well, Tate.
We did great on both the Division I or our A, AA classes, and then also our AAA classes. But in A, we got John Noe, 4th place from Page High School at the 182-pound weight class. Joseph Camp, 4th place from Fairview High School, 152-pound weight class. Still in 152, but from Page High School, Peter Lechner, he got 6th place. Then when we get to AAA, really did well. Tristan Roa, 1st place at 120 pounds, state champion out of Brentwood High School. He defeated a young man, Adam Fuller, out of Centennial. So we got 1st and 2nd in the 120-pound place. In the 120-pound weight class. Adam Fuller, 2nd place for 120-pound, who I just mentioned. Chip Brothers, 3rd place for Brentwood High School at 126 pounds. Cole Iyer, 6th place for Centennial, 132 pounds. Chris Rowland, 2nd place, Ravenwood High School at 138 pounds. Jack Holloran, 4th place, Franklin High School at 145-pound weight class. Luke Hamilton, 2nd place, Brentwood High. Devontae Walker, 5th place at 195 for Centennial High School. Josh Philby, state champion at the 220-pound weight class out of Franklin. Hunter Hancock, 6th place for Summit at 285, otherwise known as heavyweight. Graham Brothers, 3rd place for Brentwood High at 106 pounds. And then Colby Forsyth, top 12 place finish for Brentwood High at 138 pounds.
For keeping up tabs for that right there, just in our Division I group, which is our AAA group right there, we had 13 individuals in the state qualification rounds there. We had 3 in the Division II ranks, which is the AAA ranks. And finishing out the girls division, we had 3 as well. Taylor Stoll, 2nd place from Ravenwood High School in the 128-pound weight class. Jayla Grimes, 3rd place at Summit, which is they're excited about her. She was the number 1 wrestler going into the tournament in the state on the female side at the 128 weight class. She is a freshman. Plenty of upside for her to go, placing 3rd. And Kenley Hazimir from Independence High School in the 165-pound weight class. And that brings our total up to right now. 7 sports up to this point. We've got 2 state championships, volleyball, wrestling, and now we've got to go with 3 state runner-ups as well. And we have qualified in the state for the state tournament in all 7 sports.
Yeah, we have, and represented well. Anytime you place in wrestling, it's a heck of an accomplishment. Very big accomplishment. Josh Philby, the state championship match he had at the 220-pound class, defeated John Kramer from Wilson Central, who is the defending state champion. Josh only lost 1 match, coincidentally, to the 220-pound state champion in the D2 side from Father Ryan Ben Stacy, who he later beat later on in the year. This was the match of the tournament. The 220-pound guys, you're the 2nd largest or heaviest weight class, but you also got to be able to move at 220. These were 2 tough guys. It was a great match. 9-6 decision. He was sick. He had to take 2 timeouts during it, and you know, we talk about it all the time. Toughing through it. I mean, he toughed through it against, you know, the defending state champion. Great win for him. So that was very big. Tristan Roa's win over, you know, we had an all WCS final, 120-pound class. He got the pin on him. It was a very tight match till the end, but he got the pin. And then another guy, Chris Rowland, the 138-pound runner-up from Ravenwood. We know him from football, Seth's little brother. I thought that was a great accomplishment. We lost 4-3 to a young man out of Cleveland who's a wrestler year-round. Obviously, Chris played 15 games because they were in the state championship game. You know, the 2-point play we still have nightmares about.
Right.
But I thought what he did was a great accomplishment, coming in 2nd place. And he is a junior. He'll be back.
I was doing okay until you ripped that scab off again. I mean, I've had to go in some treatments on that football, and I'm trying to put it past me. But anyway, if you have not been to a TWSAA state championship on the wrestling, you know, Williamson County gets to host this event. Fantastic event. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see all these wrestlers in action over at the Williamson County Ag and Center and Expo Center. And, you know, I got a chance to go and watch, and I know just enough information to be dangerous when I'm watching it, but it's probably one of the hardest sports there is, just because of the fact that the conditioning and shape you have to be in to go through those 3-minute rounds, to score those points. There's strategy involved, more so than you think, going into it.
Yeah, you're right, and it's periods, not rounds. That's the boxer.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Tip off versus kickoff. I get you. Yeah.
There you go. So you're right, and it's there's nowhere to hide, man. You can't blame it on anybody else. It's you and that guy. Somebody didn't miss a block or miss a pass. It's you and him. So, and it is when you go all 6. If you've never done it, if you go 3 2-minute periods, I don't care how good a shape you're in, you're exhausted. And that goes back to the rolling thing too. Like I said, he went 15 games. So guys have been wrestling for an entire month before he even got back out on the mat. So it's a great, and I can tell you from knowing a lot of wrestling coaches around the state and the mid-state, they love what we do with it. It used to be, and it's been a few different places. It used to be in Chattanooga, and then it moved. It's been here. They love what they do with it. The way I understand it, it's a collective effort between obviously the wrestling teams at the schools and then their booster clubs and parents, and they do a great job with it.
Absolutely, and we have some top-notch coaches in our system right now in the WCS Sports Conference. Summit, the sky's the limit for that group, and what they have done in the short amount of time that Coach has been there, and I just look forward to seeing how far that our wrestling. I feel like our wrestling programs here can be on par with the volleyball programs, just because of the fact of the people that we serve and the kids that we have, and the maximum amount of kids that are coming out for this particular sport.
Oh yeah, they've done a great job. It's crazy, you start looking at Josh Peck and Joe Blair. They're the elder statesmen of this, of the WCS Sports Conference in wrestling, and I can remember when Joe was like Peter Miller. He was 24 and just came in and took over for GP West. So, but Pelkey at Centennial, Benji Gray at Page. We got a lot of really good young wrestling coaches here. Peter Miller, obviously, whose dad is the head coach of Cleveland. We've got some really good coaching here right now.
That's right, and Cleveland being the state powerhouse year after year after year on the wrestling side, and Page having the most successful wrestling season that they've ever had in school history. So congratulations to all of our wrestling, all of our programs, all the coaching staffs. Great job. Look forward to seeing what that takes us in the future. Now we're moving into the favorite time of the year for me. This is by far, we're going into March Madness on the college level, and on the high school level, you're going through your district and regional tournaments. It's hard for me to decide which one I like better. I like the region tournaments because you get the different flavor of both sides and seeing if your sports conference is better than the other and who gets the most. But before we get to that, not only that, we have the middle school level as well having their tournaments. The WMAA basketball tournament going on this week at Brentwood Middle School. On the girls' side, I'm going to do the brackets real quick. Spring Station, the number 1 seed going in against Grassland. Page, the number 4 seed versus the number 5 seed Woodland. Freedom Middle School, the number 3 seed versus Heritage, who is the 6th seed, and Brentwood, number 2 seed versus Sunset at the number 7 seed. On the boys' side of things, they have a play-in game on the boys' side, the 8-9 seed to get in to play the Brentwood. That's kind of like the play-in game to get in to play Duke. Right. That play-in game on the NCAA level. Sunset as the 8th seed, playing Grassland as the 9th seed, to get the honor to play Brentwood, who's sitting on top of the boys' side of the bracket at number 1 seed. Heritage at 4, Spring Station at 5 in that 4-5 matchup. Page versus Woodland in a 3-6 matchup, and Freedom versus Hillsborough in a 2-7 matchup. That is the WMAA tournament going on this week at Brentwood Middle School, and that moves us to the high school level. Fantastic action. District tournament has been played. We have our all-district tournament team. Before we get into the brackets, let's talk about who made the all-district tournament team, starting with the girls, Tate.
Well, on the girls' side, you've got MVP Lily Carter out of Dixon County. No surprise there. Brentwood had a pair with Jenny Roy and Jesse Boozer. No surprise there. Delani DiStefano from Centennial. Congratulations to her. She had a great year. Glad to see she topped that off with a very good district tournament. Emily Beard and Peyton Grove of Dixon County. Jody Hill of Franklin. Katie Pierce of Independence. Zachariah or Z. Esmond of Summit. And Kiera Downey, the freshman out of Ravenwood. I think just like the regular season all-district team, I think they got it right.
Well, I think so as well. Let me tell you something, though. The MVP, Lily Carter, what a talent she is. She comes in, as an extremely athletic, tall two-guard. But I'm going to tell you, they shortchanged the point guard on Dixon's team. This young lady, Emily Beard, if I'm not mistaken, is a sophomore, and she can flat go. And if you take her off that team, I'm not so sure she's really not the MVP of that team, because then it forces Lily to have to do a different position, and she may or may not get the ball where she needs to be. But at any given time, just like our boy from Centennial, Mr. Hall, he's always one play away. She's always one play away from doing whatever she wants to do. So obviously, probably yes, best player in the district, Jenny Roy, right there in that mix too as well. Great to see them go head-to-head in the championship game, which we'll discuss here in a minute. And interesting, but Lily Carter getting offers from SEC schools, Vanderbilt right there in the mix, if I'm not mistaken, if she's not committed already committed to Vanderbilt. Very impressive. If you get a chance to see this young lady play, you need to get to see them play. On the boys' side, same way here. MVP Grant Teichman from Brentwood High School, undoubtedly. I mean, that's just
Without a doubt.
No arguments there. Jalen Lawson from Brentwood, Tanner Tapp also from Brentwood, KJ LaSure. That's not any surprises there from Centennial High School, point guard. Hunter Walcott from Dixon, Garrison Mathews from Franklin, Zach Muir from Franklin, Grayson Murphy from Independence, Case Bolden from Ravenwood, and John Carter from Summit. That's a pretty good list there. It's unfortunate, like, for instance, KJ LaSure gets one game in. You don't get to see him play all the way out, as well as the Bolden kid from Ravenwood too. But, all these kids here is pretty much just like the girls' side, mimics what's happened in the regular season.
Yeah, it has. And what a fun district tournament was. Grant Teichman, the MVP. If you like shooters, and he can do other things too, but 40 points in his last two games in the district tournament, 40 points, turns around with 21 points after that. I believe the 40 was against Summit. They only scored 76 points. He scored over half the points for Brentwood. He was on fire. He's a senior, leading. It was fun to watch.
Not to jump ahead right before we go to break, but I'm going to get this in. I was at that game. I got to see all the games, and I was sitting there with two different college organizations watching him play, one being Martin Mathews, Scott Combs and his group, and the other one
highly ranked,
by the way, number 8 in the country. Now, just to get a short plug to my boy Scott Combs, and also Austin P was in the house. So we're sitting there watching, right? And I'm here to tell you, he only makes 3 threes the entire game. 9 points was his probably. I'm not sure he made another shot outside of the 10-foot range. That was the quietest 40 points that you would ever see. I can't even describe it to people. I mean, we're going in there, they're pressing, they're turning the ball over. Summit didn't play their best game. He's making shot after shot after shot, and we're thinking, yeah, he played pretty well tonight. He had about 20, and we go over and check the books. He had 40. So you're like, wow. But, unbelievable. So the district tournament by itself, I've been around basketball a long time, and this is not embellishing the fact. This might be the best tournament as far as the games went. Each and every game decided by a low point total. Either way, it could have been a coin flip at any point in time. Fantastic action. So let's start on the girls' side real quick. Division II ranks. Fairview finished out the season 6-19. Lost to Creekwood in the opening round. Not any surprises there. Wayne McGowan knew had a tall task against number 1 Creekwood. Lost 22-66. Creekwood ended up winning the tournament. Fairview finishes out 6-19. Same case with Page, 4-20. Lost to Spring Hill 33-51. I think that we can say Coach Mooney and his group showed improvement throughout the year. Scores got closer. Things just didn't probably fall the way they want to. Young team looking to rebuild next year. Brentwood, 23-4, 11-1. Beat Summit 26-24 in the semis. Lost to Dixon 49-51 in championship game. So we're going to talk about that championship game when we finish the rundown. Centennial 9-13, 2-10, lost to Ravenwood in the opener, 35-45. Franklin 12-15, 6-6, lost to Summit. Kerry Goodwin, Battle of the Goodwins 3, unfortunate for that. They had to open up. 43-45, lost that game there to Summit. Indy 4-23, finished by getting beat by Dixon 46-53. Led in the fourth quarter, played an outstanding game, had a good game plan. Lost the first 2 games by a combined point total of 66 points, and then they get beat 46-53 there. Ravenwood beat Centennial in the opener, 45-35. Lost to Dixon 45-60 in the semis, and won the consolation game over Summit 42-37. Once again, Summit goes and gets that fourth seeding after losing the consolation game, beating Franklin in the opener 43-35. When we come back from break, we'll hit the boys' side real quick. We're going to finish up with the district tournament, talk about the Region 6 AAA tournament happening this week. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Austin. Why I picked this book is why I picked Puppies is because it has really good illustrations and it had facts I never knew, and I just loved the book when I read it.
Hello, welcome back to the second half of WCS Sports Connection Game Day. All right, Tate, before we get into the boys' side, let's finish up on the girls' side of the district tournament. Once again, Brentwood's road to the championship game. Brentwood comes out, has to play Old Sparty, Lady Spartans and Summit, off the bat, win 26-24. And I'm here to tell you right now, Josh Goodwin calls one of his signature plays up where they run Z through, defense sucks to Z side, back door, throw it, girl mishandles it to go up. And there were some other opportunities there too. Poor old Josh is pulling his hair out. He's probably earned some gray hairs. Had a chance to win and beat Brentwood. What would that have been if Summit goes in and beats Brentwood off the bat and sends them home? Second round, it sends them into the consolation game. Hopefully they wouldn't have had a situation where we'd had to throw a game or anything in the consolation game. But Summit right now, playing really good, 26-24 in the semis. And then goes in and plays Dixon in the championship game. Now, in the championship game, it was a back-and-forth contest. Lily Carter, when she wanted to, kind of could take over, and then she would go back, passive. It was kind of going back and forth. Jenny Roy played a great game. Now, it comes down to 10 seconds to go, tie ball game. Jenny Roy gets trapped at the half-court line, what we call dead man's corner, at the half-court sideline. She gets trapped. We're sitting there. I keep thinking a timeout's going to be called, but apparently she looks like she gets fouled. Loose ball comes out. They take off with 4 seconds to go. Clear shot to shoot a layup. They catch up and get a foul. Makes 2 free throws. Game over. Tough way to go out that way. Referee may have swallowed his whistle or whatnot, but anytime you get an opportunity to get back into that dead man's corner, you don't want that to happen because anything can happen wrong, which happened in that particular part of the game. But, silver lining in that cloud is if you beat them in the regional championship and put them on the road in sub-state, so be it. I think that we're on a collision course to see a Brentwood-Dixon matchup once again for the 5th time of the year in the regional championship game. Summit, like we talked about that, kind of wins in the same fashion against Franklin, and makes her free throws down the stretch to put those guys away. But congratulations to all of our teams that advanced. So let's look at the 6 AAA bracket right now on the girls' side. Cane Ridge is the other side, number 1 seed coming in. They played number 4 Summit. Unfortunately, Summit went down in the first round. Cane Ridge advances. I don't think that's any surprises there.
No, they're the best team over there. They're very athletic. They're coached very well. Joanne Tribune, who's a former Lady Gov. Joanne Arnold, formerly Joanne Arnold from Austin P. She's been doing it a long time. And so when you get those Metro teams, you know this from coaching against them. When you get those Metro teams that are athletic and well coached, it's tough to beat them. And that's what Cane Ridge is. So like you mentioned, I think Josh Goodwin, I think they were playing their best basketball at the end of the year. They were better at the end than when they started. They just ran up against a team that was better than them.
Well, they're coming in 17-9. The girls were in. And when I got there to see it, they were already down 10. However, there was multiple opportunities to cut the lead. They had they shot themselves in the foot, so to speak. There was a lot of unforced errors and turnovers. As a coach, it drives you crazy. Summit being young, though. I mean, you're looking at Z sitting right there as a sophomore. As athletic as Cane Ridge was, she was the most athletic player on the floor and going to be majority of the nights. Sky's the limit for her. So I look forward to seeing how her career unfolds. They have another girl that's a freshman that can shoot the ball well. The majority of their players, they only had 2 seniors that are even in a rotation. So Summit Lady Spartans are looking good for the future. In the 2-3 game, Brentwood, Hunters Lane. Brentwood, Coach Sig right now sitting at home. If he didn't have any gray hairs, he's got them now. Started off the game terrible and played the entire game terrible, and then decided to play right at the very end, turned it over, got him a good win over Hunters Lane in the first round.
Yeah, but that's tournament basketball, so that happens some. The main thing is you want to advance. They did. Now they're going up against a very good Cane Ridge team. And Coach Tribune from Cane Ridge was at Hunters Lane. She and Coach Sig, there's no telling how many games they played through the years. They know each other inside and out. This is going to be fun to watch.
Sure, and they came in at 18-13. So Brentwood advances to play Cane Ridge in the semis. Once again, we are in the region tournament. You have to win 2 to continue on. So that game is a must-win for Brentwood to get into the championship game. Dixon County, McGavock, no surprise there. Dixon advances over McGavock pretty easily. And then in the 2-3 game at the end of the night, Overton and Ravenwood played. Overton beats Ravenwood. Ravenwood did not play well at all, didn't shoot the ball well at all. I think that's a little bit, for me, a little surprising, but Overton 19-9 coming in.
Yeah, well, and it's like you just mentioned with Cane Ridge and Summit. Overton's very athletic. They can pressure you, and they're pressuring you all over the court. And it was just tough for, I think Ravenwood made 3 shots in the second half. It was just tough for them to score.
All right, so let's move over to the boys' side of things. District tournament now over for both our Division II and Division I groups. Starting on the Division II side, Fairview finished their season out at 3-22, lost to Lewis County 56-62 in the opener. Fairview just took their lumps this year, looking to build for the future. Page 10-17 lost to Giles County in the opener 55-57, which hurt me in the standings. Thank you, Billy Holt, for hurting my overall record to Tate Mathews. He continues to find a way to hurt me, even though I haven't coached against him in a long time. Tough to beat Giles County regardless in tournament play. What happened was tied ball game, missed shot, and at the buzzer, Giles County tips it back at the buzzer to beat and advance over Page 57-55. Moving over to the Division I side in our district tournament, what an unbelievable atmosphere and tournament. Man, it was fantastic on the boys' side. Number 1, Brentwood, right now sitting at 25-5, beat Summit 73-64. That was the largest deficit of any game on the boys' side there. Score doesn't indicate what really happened. Pretty close game. That was the game that Teichman had 40 in. A lot of unforced errors by the young Spartans at that point in time. Turned the ball over in the 1-2 press there, and it was just a game that could have gone either way at one point in time, and then it all of a sudden got away from the Spartans late in the game.
Yeah, and look at it. Look at how they won. Brentwood pulls ahead at the end. They're with Grant Teichman. He's their best player. He's playing their best ball. He's a senior. They've got seniors on this team. This is the 3rd year they've been, well, maybe the 3rd year they've been in the state tournament. Summit has all juniors and some sophomores and a freshman. So, the experience, I think, in that one paid off.
Well, let me tell you something. Summit came out 13-3 run right off the bat. Up 10 points, rolling, crowds into it. The Summit squad's bouncing. The Brentwood section's over there quiet. And I told the guys I was sitting with, that had been Coach Combs and them at the time, I said, just watch. The Coach King never got upset. The bench just sat there, and I said, they're going to come back out of this because they're not going to, they've been down before. The maturity is going to eventually show up, and sure enough, it did. Right now you're led by sophomores and freshmen as your lead dogs on Summit, and that's just a growing pain that they need to learn and watch the tape and watch how guys that have been there and done it before, how they operate. They never got rattled, fought their way, scratched, clawed, got their way back in it, and when they took the lead late, you could just tell it was over for the other team. So Brentwood advances. Centennial 8-17 got beat by Indy 23-47. They just ran into a juggernaut. Right now, Indy was playing fantastic. Not so sure they're still not playing the best basketball, even though they got a loss there in the second round by Franklin. Franklin 15-13 beat Dixon in 49-32 in the opener. And then beat Indy 52-49 on a Joe Critchlow 3 from the corner late in the game. Late, seconds left to beat Indy there. Brentwood obviously running into Franklin in the championship game. Got beat 45-61 by Brentwood in the championship game.
We talked all year about matchups, and some teams match up well with others, better than others. Franklin is the one team, in my opinion, Indy did not want to see. And depending on which Franklin team shows up, you're right, I thought Indy was playing the best basketball of anybody. I actually picked them to win the tournament. Obviously, I was wrong on that. But Franklin, those games where you never knew which one they were going to be. Franklin was just a bad matchup for Indy, in my opinion, and they played well.
Well, they're a bad matchup for anybody. Their size brings a lot of table. But on the flip side of that, they're not very good at the guards. So that poses a problem because Indy comes in guard heavy.
Right.
So, I mean, it was like a heavyweight bout back and forth. And I'm going to tell you right now, but going into halftime, I was starting to believe you. Indy's going to win the tournament. Because Murphy came down, they milked the clock perfectly, crosses over, pull up Jay, and somebody's on top of the key, nothing but the bottom net to take a pretty significant lead at halftime. I can't remember right off the top of my head. It was a 7, 8-point range, 9-point range. Could have gone either way. Momentum is swinging to them. They fight their way back in this thing. I really thought at that time that Franklin was going to lose double digits. They fight their way back in it. Joe Critchlow goes from, one of those shots where you're going, no, Joe, to yes, great shot with the time there late in the game. Nothing against Joe, but probably maybe not option one to shoot that particular shot at that time, but he makes it. Don't matter, it's all real, it doesn't matter now because it's in the books. But Franklin goes on to play Brentwood in the championship game, and Brentwood pretty much controlled that game from start to finish.
Yeah, they did. And Brentwood is a bad matchup for Franklin. So, and I think that press they run, we talk about all the offense that Brentwood has. I think that press flies under the radar. They play great defense.
Absolutely. Well, Indy turns around the consolation game. I was really worried about how they were going to bounce back. Play Summit in the consolation game, 70-53, man, just rolled. And so I'm going to be really, really curious about how they finish out in the region. Ravenwood lost to Summit in the opener 69-74. And, of course, we've already talked about Summit beating the Ravenwood team and then losing the next two to go in as the number 4 seed. And as it sits right now in Region 6 AAA right now, Hillsboro upsetting number 1 Cane Ridge over there to come in as the number 1 seed. Old Sparty's got a pretty tall task to play Hillsboro in the opening round.
Yeah, very athletic, very long. Summit's going to have to shoot the ball well.
Franklin right now coming in 2 seed playing Glencliff as the 3rd seed. Brentwood number 1 seed playing the other side number 4 McGavick. Cane Ridge playing Indy. Interesting matchup there off the bat. So finishing out the year, I got hammered once again in basketball, 32-14. Excuse me, you were 32-14. I was 26-20 on the seasons for Pick'em. So let's just, for fun and games, go through real quick and talk about who we think is going to win this matchup. Let's start on the girls' side real quick. We have just a few minutes left. Cane Ridge, Brentwood. Do you see any matchup?
Cane Ridge.
Over Brentwood?
Oh, Cane Ridge, Brentwood. I'm sorry. Brentwood.
I say I can make up a game right here.
Thank you very much.
I'm agreeing. Brentwood,
I'm going with Brentwood.
I think Brentwood. I don't see anything there. I think Dixon's going to beat Overton in that next matchup. Do you disagree?
Not even close.
Dixon. Now here's the kicker. Round 5, what's going to happen? We've had some close games. Brentwood, Dixon in the championship, the region championship. I really think that Sig gets them this time.
I'm going to go with Dixon County. But Brentwood advances, so that doesn't mean they can't make it. And I'm going to be picking them later. I'm going with Dixon.
Absolutely. Hillsboro Summit there. Old Sparty's got a tough hill to climb.
I'm a Summit fan, but I got to go with Hillsboro.
Old Sparty right here. I'm telling you, we're going to get into that second round game. Have to get a matchup between Franklin and Old Sparty there. Interesting matchup. It's going to be a tough hill to climb, but best of luck to Coach Ladd. Then Franklin, Glencliff.
Franktown.
Absolutely. I think Franklin goes. Brentwood, McGavick.
Brentwood.
I don't see any problems there. Cane Ridge, Indy. That's an interesting matchup.
I'm going to go with Cane Ridge. It hurts my heart, but I got to go Cane Ridge.
It's going to be a tough one. This is the hardest game for me to pick.
Best game in this first round.
I think so, too. I hope that Indy advances. Regardless of what happens, I want an all WCS finish on the boys' side, and that would put interesting matchups all the way across. So congratulations to you once again for hammering me during basketball. I'm going to have to look to the future on baseball, softball. So the WCS team, small, help me out here. Help me out to get at least one victory call on the year. When we come back next week, we'll finish up our region matchups here. Hopefully, talk about some sub-state matchups that happened over the weekend break. I'm Jeremy Qualls, your co-host here. With me, as always, Tate Mathews. This has been WCS Game Day. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
What the? What? I should have thrown you away? Okay.